a big show for you guys because free agency frenzy in the NBA is upon us. The Lakers continued their free agent moves and got it all started with this one on Tuesday. According to media reports, free agent Carmelo Antony has agreed to join the Lakers on a one-year deal. Melo played great off the bench for the Blazers last year. He averaged 13 points.
I like it.
This isn't 10 years ago, is it? 13 points while shooting over 40% from deep. In addition to Melo,
he was a typical 37-year-old in the NBA, a guy who was drafted in 2003. Think about that. I'd probably be like, whatever. But as you talked about and you saw by the stats, you can still see the stats there. He's playing great ball for Portland. Last 2 years, he's been very productive off the bench for these guys. So Carmelo will be a great second-team unit guy for the Lakers. I go back to that Phoenix series. They had a couple droughts in very important parts of that series. They couldn't get points on the board. Melo will definitely help in that situation. A guy who can really light up the scoreboard. Even still, BT at age 37 will not give you much defensively, but I do like the fact that he's kind of added this threat of a three-point shot. 41% last season. That's impressive right there.
Wow. Malik Monk, only 23 years old.
This one.
Lakers needed some youth, and he provides that. He's also coming off of his best year. He's had an interesting couple of first few years in the league. His first two, just some coaching changes, some off-the-court stuff, some injuries, things like that. But he's kind of gotten through that, it seems like, Brez, and he's an unfinished product.
Really like what he did this past season. Okay, Charlotte had some injuries, a.k.a. LaMelo Ball. What happens? You plug this guy in pretty much. He goes off in February, 16.5 points a game. March, similar numbers, a little bit of a dip in the scoring, but he had a really good mid-season contract for the Lakers. And Malik Monk, 11th pick in the draft 4 years ago, never quite lived up to that hype. When you're a lottery pick, a lot of eyeballs on you at all times, but you got to like, especially that 40% from three-point range. That's a nice number right there. We're seeing a little theme from the Lakers signings the last 24 hours, BT.
You know what, Gita, one thing I've learned about Malik Monk is that he was someone that came into the league, high expectations, and couldn't quite live up to that. Based on what I've been told from my years of being in the league, sometimes it takes guys longer to develop.
For sure.
Physically,
well, they come in so young now.
Exactly. Yeah. Physically, mentally. So it took him a while to get there. And he showed last season, as Brad says, that he could be a productive player off the bench or as a starter. But because he could shoot the ball so well, that's what the Lakers needed. And because he is young, they do need youth. And the idea for a one-year contract, if he plays well, he can parlay that perhaps into a better contract next season.
So when free agency started today, the Lakers were a lot older, and they were looking for shooting. It seems like they've addressed that today. Not with Melo, of course, who's 37 years old, but with Malik Monk and the next guy I'm going to mention, Kendrick Nunn. I know you guys all remember him. He played for the Heat. As a rookie, he averaged 15 per. Lakers met them in the NBA Finals, and for me, this one was a surprise. Listen, he was a 49, 38, and 93 guy. He's almost a 50-50, 90 guy, which is rare air last year. So he has that potential, guys. Young, crafty, can get hot. Brez, do you love this one? Was this a surprise?
This was a big surprise to me, and he'll take up the Lakers' mid-level, so to speak, about $6 million a year for a 2-year deal. I thought the Lakers might get Patty Mills in this spot, and so did a lot of other people.
Well, I think that was on everyone's wish list.
Yeah, right? Some Laker fans may be disappointed by that. Mills is having a very nice off-season run with Team Australia, and obviously a pretty gifted player as a part-time starter for San Antonio. But Kendrick Nunn is a great save in my mind. This guy's a lot younger than Patty Mills, 26 years old, 2 very productive seasons with the Miami Heat. And, the writing was on the wall when they traded for Kyle Lowry yesterday. Right. Maybe Kendrick Nunn is on the way out. The Lakers made the phone call, presumably after Patty Mills told them thanks but no thanks. And this is a great, great recovery for the Lakers. I love his game. Young, like you said, he can get to the basket. He can hit threes. This kid can score.
2 years ago, he was second in Rookie of the Year.
He had a great rookie season.
Yeah.
He started this with Golden State and their franchise, with them. He went to Miami, had a very good year. The Lakers got lucky because they were patient. They were aware of what was going on. They made the phone calls, staying active, and it turns out the Miami Heat had financial problems trying to deal with that, trying to keep him on their team. So he can't keep the contract that they agreed to. They'll release him. What does Rob Pelinka do? He swoops in, and he signs a very good young player for 2 years and gives him the option where he can opt out the next year. who wouldn't want that? And based on what I was told, that Nunn had a chance to go to other teams for more money, but he chose the Lakers.
Well, he knows he's going to be on the big stage.
Yes.
He knows that if you do good things here, big things can happen for you down the road. And Brez, he's played 2 years. He's averaged 15 and 14 points a game. So say he comes off the bench, you can use that kind of a spark.
For sure. And he was kind of a part-time starter in Miami.
Yeah.
You know, some vet guys went down with injuries in his short 2 years there. He had to plug in. And that might happen with the Lakers. Maybe they say, you know what, you got to jump in there. We're going to give Russ the night off. Now, he's not a point guard. You know, keep that in mind. He's not a passer. This guy is a pure scorer. That's his game.
Yeah.
We'll see defensively what he can bring to the mix. Still a pretty young player in NBA years, but a real nice pickup for the Lakers. I'm loving their day 2 acquisitions.
All right, more moves from the purple and gold. Woj reporting that restricted free agent Taylor Horton-Tucker has agreed to a 3-year, $32 million deal to stay with the Lakers. THT showed flashes during his second season with the team, averaging 10 points and close to 4 assists post All-Star break. Guys, I think this is big.
Yes.
He's a homegrown guy. Lakers drafted in the second round. He's still only 20 years old. He was a priority for them, and the Lakers got him. How important was that, Brez? Because you and I spent a lot of time on these off-season shows talking about what kind of money is he going to demand. Will they be able to match it?
You know, during a lot of these shows, to me, it was always an either-or with THT or Alex Caruso. 2 young guards, obviously THT very young, 20 years old. Which one is going to end up with the Lakers? And THT made more sense. A, he's restricted free agent, and B, his ceiling is higher than Alex Caruso. Caruso, decent offensive player, shot 40% from three-point range last season. But THT, you know, you saw some stuff towards the end of the season. 24 points against Utah, 23 against Houston. And you start to think, what can this kid really deliver? He's so young. Some of the guys that were drafted this year were a couple years older than this kid. So this makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good number for the Lakers, you know, a little over $10 million a year. I think it's a pretty good number for THT, too. The guy would have made about...
Changes your life.
Yeah, he made about $1 million this past season. So anytime you go 10X in salary, that's a pretty good day for you.
You know what else helped the Lakers? That no other team came and threw a lot of money at THT.
And that's what I think we were all worried about going into this process.
That was a little bit of a surprise.
Exactly. That was a surprise. But that's because teams were trying to get Kyle Lowry's and
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan's of the world.
Yeah.
And maybe they overlooked him, but the Lakers had to feel very fortunate that he was willing to accept this contract.
Yep.
Obviously, he wanted to stay here. At 20 years old, as you said, 20, he's improving. What he's really got better at, Brad, that I love, he's starting to concentrate more on defense.
Yeah.
Because with his long arms and his reach, he can block shots. We've seen him do that. Now, if he just learns how to become a better help defender, he's pretty good on ball. But if he can become a total defender, his game will really flourish.
President mentioned Alex Caruso. We're going to talk about him later in the show. Everyone's going to miss AC Fresh, fan favorites. Just want you to know that's coming up a little bit later. I do want to ask you one more thing, BT, about THT. Do you think that connection with LeBron James and the fact that he was drafted here